How to stop my aggressive child? Follow me to know the answer. Welcome, my name is Majida, and this topic is important for parents, educators, and caregivers. Very important, let's not say my aggressive child. Let's change the language to my child is displaying an aggressive behavior. Don't get alarmed, most children engage in aggressive behaviors as they are learning to communicate effectively. According to Erikson, children have needs for independence, and as a result, they experiment with boundaries. They're testing the people around them to see how far they can go. We need to ask ourselves, are we talking about aggression or a conflict situation where the child needs to solve a communication problem and the child doesn't have an aggression problem? So to understand conflict situations, we can see instrumental conflict where the child is fighting to keep a toy, a game, or a location. Or a power conflict, and this behavior could be in a daycare or at home. Children refuse to do what they're asked, and they're refusing to eat something, to dress up, or to go to bed as examples. Aggression is really highlighted by the intention. So in instrumental aggression, the child intends to hurt another child to get, for example, a toy or a piece of a puzzle. In hostile aggression, which is the most concerning, is when the child is hitting, hurting, or kicking another child for no specific reason. The child might think that the other child wants to hurt him or her, or the child just doesn't like the other child and doesn't want him or her in the proximity. So what can be done to help children learn to be social and to resolve conflicts when things don't go their way? Whether in a childcare or at home, it's important to do the following. Have a plan, comes first. Document when the child is acting with anger or with aggression. Does the child act out at specific times during the day, before meals, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day when they're getting sleepy and tired? So what we're looking for is whether the behavior is masking a need, such as a biological need, hunger, for example, or an emotional need, such as seeking attention. If the child is in daycare, the educator discusses the issue with the parents and shows them the documentation. The educator could ask if the child behaves similarly at home, and both the educator and the parent develop a plan that could be implemented at home and at the daycare, and they agree to check with each other regularly to note the progress. Next, we need to have consistent application. We need to repeat the rules regularly and apply them consistently. For example, a set eating time helps the child to get used to the routine. We could have the rules drawn as the children can't read and posted so the child can see them. This would apply mostly to daycare, but can also be done at home. The parents should evaluate their own responses to conflict situation and be aware that the child is learning from them as well. So how is their response in a conflict situation is influencing how the child is reacting. That brings us to modeling to the child. We need to verbalize to the child what could be said instead of acting out physically. For example, if the child wants a toy from another child, the educator or the parent could say to the child, "I see you looking at that toy, would you like to have it? The toy is currently with another child, AC. Let's try to do something else while waiting for AC to finish playing with it." Or walk with the child and show support while he or she is asking the other child if they could play together. How much time does the other child need? or work out a time for each to play. It's important to reinforce positive behavior. We need to keep reminding children that we use our hands to play, to pick up things, to draw, but we use our mouth to let the other people know what we want by talking to them. In the meantime, children should be reinforced for accepted behavior so they know what is expected. Do not, as a parent or educator, talk about what is not accepted, as this would reinforce children for doing something negative. They could seek attention by doing more negative actions. It's important to help the child develop self-discipline and to show remorse. Adults should notice when the child is starting to show aggression and prevent the behavior before it happens. They should inform the child that he or she is getting restless. Ultimately, we want children to notice themselves and to stop on their own. They could ask to go sit quietly so they calm down. If the child engages in a conflict situation or in an aggressive behavior, we need the child to say sorry. Using water and breathing techniques is important. Sometimes water is the magic solution, and we need to wash the child's hands and face with water. And we need to help angry children talk about what is bothering them, and we need to listen to them. We need to keep listening and calming the child until breathing goes back to normal. So these are the recommendations, and I hope you find them helpful and that the child is able to develop social competence and ability to communicate better when they have needs. The reference for the terms is from the book Child Development and Learning. Please subscribe to get coverage of more topics on early childhood education. And for information about child development, please refer to the Future Global Children website, where you will find posts that address children's social, emotional, physical, cognitive, and language development. If you have an infant or provide care to an infant, consider buying from Amazon the guide Infant Development for Moms and Dads, 20 Questions and Answers for a Super Job. And thank you, and see you next time.